We're in the building today for a special episode. We got a special guest in the building, Mr. Leon Robinson. Leon Robinson, how you doing today?
You better say just Leon, because they're not going to who you talking about.
Oh, shit. Just Leon. Nah.
Leon who?
Right. Nah, man. We got Leon in the building today for this episode of the podcast. First and foremost, appreciate having you on the platform today. How you doing today, brother?
I'm good. Can't complain. You know, I'm alive in the midst of all this madness we're going through.
Word. Well, we've been having some guests on recently. We've been asking everybody when they come on, how is it where you're living? I don't know where you're located at right now, but how is the laws? How's the quarantine? How's the atmosphere where you're at right now?
Well, where I'm personally at, it's fine. I'm out here. I'm just looking out here in the wilderness. There's nothing here but deer.
Right.
Yeah, I live in New York City.
Okay.
So, as you know, New York City has been, going a bit crazy with the COVID-19. But fortunately, I had a place where to stay away from the city. I've been here self-quarantining for like 26 days now. So, I'm just waiting for things to calm down and hopefully get back to normal so we can all get back to work and do what we do.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely in the same position as you. I guess we can start off, man. I don't know. I can remember you from the 5 Heartbeats. So it's definitely an honor, to see you, and have you in here with us today. But can we get into how you got started, in Hollywood? What was your first gig? And did you, how'd you aspire to be an actor? Like, did you just start as a little kid and say, look, I want to be an actor? Could you explain that process?
Well, no, I didn't really have that as a kid. I guess in the 7th grade, I saw my sister do her high school senior class, do a rock and roll revival. And I went to Catholic school, so I had to convince the nuns to let my 7th grade class do it. And we did it, and I choreographed all the numbers and played some of the legendary characters and stuff. So I was doing that, I guess, in 7th grade, but I went to the all-boys prep academy, so there was no drama department at the time. So I just excelled in athletics and became all-everything basketball player. Got tons of scholarship offers and wound up going out to LA on a basketball scholarship at Loyola Marymount. And a graduate film student chased me down campus and begged me to be in his movie. And I was like, well, why me? Why don't you get somebody at theater arts department? I'm sure they want to be in the movie, and he was like, nah, man, there's something about you. I've been watching you, observing you. I feel like you're going to be in the movies one day, and I want to be the first one to do it. So I did this movie, his little short film called The Photographer. And I had an experience that we all have had. You ever sit down with someone that you just met for like about an hour, but you felt like you've known them so much longer than that time you spent with them?
Word.
That's the way I felt on the movie set. And so I was just, okay, I think this is me. So I changed my major, became a drama major, and I studied acting.
Dope. You went into the 5 Heartbeats. Robert Townsend, obviously the brilliant director that he is, found you. Talk about that process. That's one of your most iconic roles. Obviously, that's something that people remember you most popular for, amongst many other roles, but that one in particular. So talk about that process, how Robert Townsend and you guys met up, the audition process and that process from there.
Well, I didn't audition for the movie.
Oh, wow.
For one thing, yeah, I met Robert. Robert saw me at the MTV Music Awards with Madonna, and then I guess Jackie Brown, who was casting the 5 Heartbeats, got no idea about the movie, knew all about me and was just like was saying, this is who you want, this is who you want, and so came in for a meeting with Robert, and we just gelled, and Robert started, telling me what he thought and how he saw me and this and that, whatever, and we just took it from there.
Cool. What was the process, of making a movie? Because, like I said, I was a young kid, watching this movie, and we used to watch it over and over in our household. Again, yeah. Come on TV all the time. Yeah. We bought the cassette, the videotape, of the movie. Was it challenging?
It was voted the #1 film among African Americans for the last 25 years by AOL.
Wow, I believe it.
Because you know what it's like for us. It's like that movie's become like It's a Wonderful Life for us. It's like the movie you watch at our family reunion. and the holidays and stuff, right? How many times your grandparents or your dad or your cousin talking about, come on, we gonna watch the Five Heartbeats now?
Right.
Millions.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Definitely, definitely. Now moving on to the Temptations. How'd you get into?
But now, before you move on to the Temptations, I just want to give a righteous plug to Robert Townsend, who directed and produced the documentary, "The Making of the Five Heartbeats," and it will start streaming April 23rd, Thursday, April 23rd, on UMC. So you got to check out this documentary. It's great. It tells a story from the time he was a little kid, as an extra on Mahogany, to the idea when he had the idea until him making the movies, the struggles, everything.
Let me
You're gonna be shocked, and you're gonna be shocked to see all the people that auditioned for the joint. You're gonna be like, "Oh, that's so and so. Oh, I didn't know." It's crazy.
Let me ask you this about you, what you saying that that being such an iconic movie, and you still having such obviously a fun relationship with Robert Townsend. Do you guys from the movie still stay close? Did you guys speak when the documentary was being done? How often do you guys keep in touch?
Yeah, definitely. We always speak when we did the movie, but yeah, we all stay in touch to some
Dope.
degree, some more than others. Harry Lennox, who played Dresser, I see Harry all the time because he does a series here in New York. So we watch football on Sundays together. Robert Townsend and I, we always talk, and we're always doing things together, always making it, whether we're just talking or hanging out or making appearances together. And Michael Wright, I stay in touch with, and Tico, choir boy, he's like the one, like the ringleader, the one that always keeps us together, keeps us on the text chain.
Word.
Yeah, I thought it was just, that movie was so brilliant because it was like it showed what really went on, especially with like black groups, through the stuff that was going on between them, to dealing with the white bands and the police, and you even still see some of the same things in Hollywood now. You know what I mean, with them, like copying certain things that we do and try to be us when they're really not. A black man, in Hollywood. We talked to Miguel Nunez last week, and a lot. It seemed like we thought that it was a pattern, possibly like that they wanted to maybe like effeminate or demasculinize the black man, putting them in a dress or something like that. How do you feel about that particular aspect of Hollywood? Has anybody ever asked you to do a crazy role like that you didn't want to ever do?
Well, I had to put on a dress when I played Little Richard.
Okay.
Right, because Little Richard started off in the vaudeville act, where he had to do that, and so that was just that. But that's that's history. That's real. That's real life. That's what happened.
Exactly.
Word.
Yeah. So you can if you look at the history of film in general, okay, so many of the comedians, not just black, but also white, going back to Tony Curtis and a bunch of others, at some point dressed up like a woman in a movie. Tom Hanks, it's for some reason it's been considered this comical thing throughout the generations. And so I think that we want to look every time something's happening with us and see, wait a second, is this some kind of plan or something? or are we just doing that? And I think that to some degree, there's always going to be that, because for some degree, people find that funny, whether it's Eddie Murphy or whatever it is. People gonna find it, white chicks, if they don't find it funny. You know what I'm saying? And so, unfortunately, they don't find it as funny when a woman tries to be a man.
Right.
But yeah, that's just the nature. That's just the nature of the way things are. And if you feel as though that's what they're doing to you as a man when you're playing this character, you shouldn't play that role.
Facts. Definitely agree.
Now, okay, so how do you feel about people who do play them roles and then later on say that they regret those roles, or they were, I don't want to say forced or coerced into this role by Hollywood, kind of giving off the speculation to people outside of the circle that there is something, or there's a higher agenda to demasculate black men in Hollywood? Because there's definitely something that gives people outside of Hollywood a reason to go, they got a good point. Yeah, But then you're the second actor that we a very respected actor that kind of went along the same line. Like, nah,
Right.
it's not like that. So I would love to get your perspective on that.
Well, when you well, first of all, you said someone who's done that and then says they regret it. Well, I can't speak for everybody. I'm an actor, okay,
Mhm.
first and foremost, and I'm only going to regret a role that I play if I didn't play it well. Okay,
Word.
so that's the way I feel. Um, as far as choosing to do that role, well, you have to realize something. I whether it's acting or just anything in life. If you ask me at 45 about something I did when I was 25, I would say, no, I wouldn't do it today.
Word.
No. But it's not that 45-year-old that they asked to do that. They asked you when you were 25. And, and you were a different man then in different situations and everything else. So it's like, I don't see any reason to regret anything
Right.
unless you didn't play the role well. That I would regret.
Waiting to Exhale. I want to ask you about that iconic role. That was another movie. Yeah,
Oh,
I mean, I
man.
love that one.
Oh man.
I mean, that's the one your mom put on when she was younger, and you had to sit through and watch it. But it was good.
You didn't realize why. But you realize why now.
Right. Whitney Houston. First question would be: did you keep a relationship with the people on that set? And what are your memories of Whitney Houston? Back then in her prime years, I should say, in my opinion.
As far as keeping relationships with people, it's like a lot of people already. We know each other from either working on projects together or appearances together, or just we know each other's work, and so we're always friendly regardless of the time. So I don't think there was anyone on the movie Waiting to Exhale that I think that I like made some amazing connection with that we're still friends today. But got along with everybody great. Got along with Layla great. Got along with everybody great. It was a good time coming on the movies. I was doing I think one or two other projects at the same time, so I had to come in and do it and do my role and stuff. But when on the set, it seemed like it was great. I was happy for Forrest at the time because he was doing this thing and directing. He's very talented as a director as
Mhm.
well, and so yeah, I was just happy to be part of that project. Whenever there's a project, especially with women, and that women of color, where I could play a role to support them, I jump at it.
Absolutely, absolutely.
All right, yeah, dope. Speaking on other iconic figures also in music that you sat along the screen with, Tupac. You played his brother in Above the Rim, one of our favorite movies of all
Yeah.
time as well. How was it working with Tupac? Now, I'm sure you've been asked this a million times, and people that work with Tupac have been asked that a million times. But how was your experience working with Tupac Shakur?
Well, my experience working with Tupac was great. He was on point every time we worked together. But then again, he told me that when he came in for the script reading, and he was a bit bodacious and everything else. But he came up to me, bowed his head, and said, "Yo, you're not gonna have a problem with me because you in the Five Heartbeats." So, he was 100 with me, 100%. So, I mean, we had a lot of problems with him in general during that time. He got arrested a couple times because he shot an off-duty police officer, held up production a few times. Things that that weren't really great for the movie as a whole. But with me and him, it was always 100 and cool. You know.
Dope. I got a two-part question for you. One, what was your favorite role you've ever played? And two, what was the most challenging role you've ever played, whether that be on screen, in music, or in theater?
Okay, well, I'm not gonna have a definitive answer for you for either one
Okay.
because one, I don't really know what role is my favorite role. Because which one of your brothers is your favorite brother? Which one is your kid? Is your favorite kid? You know, um, for me, I don't really watch my movies, so it's whatever
Mm.
one you think is the best is the one. I make them for you. I make them for the people who watch them. So whatever one you like is is going to be is the one that I like the most. And as far as difficulty in playing a role, um, they're all different. They're all different, and they're all have their own set of circumstances that make them difficult, or easy, or whatever. I'd have to say that anytime I portrayed a character who actually walked and talked on this earth, who has relatives, who has friends who knew them or know them, I would say that probably adds a little bit more of a pressure, or um, how would I say, more of a concentration on making sure that I capture that person's real essence, because they have relatives, they got friends that really knew them. They're not something that a writer just wrote and created. And whatever people remember of that person, I hope to not tarnish it, but to at least bring it to life, however it was, positive or negative.
When you played the roles of Little Richard, David Ruffin, who did you ever play anybody else in biopics? I'm not sure.
Yeah. Well, I was in the movie Mr. Rock and Roll,
Okay.
legendary DJ, and I played Jackie Wilson.
Okay, dope. You played Jackie Wilson. Did you have to speak to any of the family members going into these roles? Did you get a relationship with any of the family members to try to get a better understanding of these roles that you were playing?
Um, with um, with David Ruffin, I'd known so much about him through the Temptations, and had so much footage on him and people from Motown. So I basically concentrated on that, but then formed a relationship with the family after the fact, because they were so impressed by my performance. And yeah, and with Little Richard, well, no, just Little Richard himself is who I had a relationship with.
Or
I got a two-part question for you as well. I want to first know who, what actors did you look up to, or do you look up to? And number one, I should ask you was, have you ever turned down any films? Have they ever gave you any films? You're like, nah, I'm not doing that. Could you speak on that?
Well, the latter, of course. I mean, you get offered garbage all the time. I mean,
Mhm.
for every good script you get, you get three ones that aren't good. Okay.
Oh,
So, or a role that's not good, or a role that's not important to the script, or a role or a movie that might be good, but the budget's not going to allow it to be made well. You know what I'm saying? There's so many reasons why not to do a project, and the biggest reason is because you're not available.
mm.
So sometimes you want to do things and you're not available, and you're just like, oh man, I want to do this joint right here, but like I can't. I'm booked on this. So that's always going to happen, and you're also going to get roles because someone else couldn't do it or didn't want to do it or whatever. And that's just the nature of the game. As an actor, you're like a pawn in the process. You're the last piece of the puzzle, and they're putting everything together, and then they decide to color in the pieces by casting it. So sometimes that's the reason why when you're in this business, as long as I've been in it, you know, you want to produce, you want to direct, you want to do stuff because you're tired of stories not turning out the way you expected them.
Mm, absolutely. Speaking of that, do you have anything in the future where you're looking to that you can speak to the people that you're about to, any films you're going to produce, or something you would like to see be done in Hollywood?
Yeah, I mean, there's so many things. I have a production company called Motion Mob Films in New York, and yeah, we're developing a bunch of different things. I directed and produced a short, and started in the short last year that won about 15 awards at film festivals called "Make America Black Again,"
Mm.
and it's political satire. It's funny, and and we have two pilots in development,
Mhm.
and yeah, I'm working as an actor. I was until March 13th. I was currently touring the country in a sold out play. I'm also on a TV show on Showtime, and my band was booked on the Tom Joyner show cruise. And yeah, but COVID-19 came and
Shut it
took
down.
over this joint.
Yeah,
Man, how many what how many things that could just shut things down like this?
it's
I
crazy.
mean, this virus dumped on the NBA and shut it down, brought
Yeah,
down the backboard.
Yeah.
It might bring down the football field and other
I
shit
hope
too.
not.
They got the Olympics. It's scary right now what's going on, but
Definitely.
even more
But
deeper than
but,
sports.
but what's crazy about it is this: you mean to tell me that this whole world is changing over a virus that
Let's
can
talk
be
about it,
killed?
brother.
Wait, a virus that can be killed with a disinfectant? Are
So
you
what's up?
kidding me?
So what's up though? All right. So is it more than a virus, Mr. Leon? Well, because we talk
No,
about
no,
it like a
no,
mafia
no, no.
mission.
What I'm saying is that it's a virus. But I'm just saying we should have no way it should have. We never ever let it get
Exactly.
to this point. Is what I'm
Word,
saying. We're
word.
too much up on science. Well, we have an administration that doesn't believe in science, but we're too far along in science to allow a virus like this to affect us like this.
Exactly.
Shutting the economy down.
They should have been better prepared, definitely, to handle this.
Hopefully.